Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. The total eclipse is just a month away, and many rural communities are taking advantage of state and federal grants to host events on the big day.
The $2,000 micro grant has pretty much made us have no limits with what we want to do.
Hundreds of thousands of visitors are expected to descend upon Indiana for the eclipse. Indiana University says it's working to better implement its climate action plan, but students and faculty say they've been left out of the process.
It's really a terrible waste of a wonderful, no pun intended, but it's a missed opportunity.
The university has created a chief sustainability officer to oversee its climate plan. And Monroe County Community School Corporation and Superintendent Jeff Hauswald have agreed to part ways after just 3 years. We'll have these stories, plus the latest news from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Jeff Hauswald's time as the superintendent of the Monroe County Community School Corporation is ending after just 3 years. The School Board of Trustees and Hauswald issued a joint statement Wednesday night saying the two parties had agreed to a buyout of his contract. Pat Bean has this story of his somewhat tumultuous tenure.
Jeff Hauswald helped pass 2 referendums and guided Monroe County Community School Corporation out of the pandemic. But recent policy proposals have been met with outcry from the public and rebuke from the school board. And Wednesday night, a partnership that began 3 years ago abruptly ended. Hauswald will remain as superintendent through the end of the 23-24 academic school year. The buyout calls for Hauswald to be paid his contracted 2024-25 salary of $228,936 in 2 installments between now and January 31st of 2025. In the statement, the board said Hauswald, quote, has been a strong advocate for public education and has moved MCCSC forward in dealing with difficult subjects that challenge all of us that are in and support public education. But it was those difficult subjects that led to the buyout. Hauswald came under fire last fall when he proposed aligning MCCSC's 4 high schools onto a common schedule. More than 40 Bloomington North and Bloomington South students and parents and community members spoke out against the proposal in a nearly 6-hour school board meeting.
I hope you hear my voice clearly and loudly tonight as I state clearly, the superintendent has chosen not to listen to the heart of these high schools, which are the teachers and students, and therefore must be removed.
By the end of the night, the board voted to put any schedule changes on hold until at least the 25-26 school year, and it stripped Hauswald of the power to make schedule changes.
I sincerely apologize for a process that has been maybe overly complex or messy.
Then, last December, Hauswald released a plan to consolidate Childs and Templeton elementary schools to balance socioeconomic status between the schools. Children in kindergarten through 2nd grade would go to Childs, while those in the 3rd through 6th grades would go to Templeton. Whatever plan they come up with will likely be under a new superintendent. Hauswald came to MCCSC in 2021 to succeed Judy DeMuth. He had been the superintendent of the Kokomo School Corporation since 2010. He said at the time his priorities were closing the achievement gap and dealing with the financial fallout from the pandemic. One way was to ask voters to approve referendums to raise taxes for money to go to MCCSC. The 2022 referendum overwhelmingly passed, allowing MCCSC to raise starting teacher salaries from $40,000 to $57,750 at a time when the system was struggling to retain and hire teachers. Hauswald asked for another referendum in 2023, primarily for early childhood education programs. It passed, but this time by just 1%, a reflection of the public's waning support of the administration. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Pat Bean.
The school board said it would be undertaking a search for a new superintendent for the 2024-25 school year. The total eclipse of the sun is just a month away, and communities around the state are preparing to host the largest number of tourists they've ever seen. And for many of the state's smaller communities, grant money is going a long way to make their events possible. Clayton Baumgarth has more.
When the eclipse passes over Indiana on April 8th, it will mark a massive increase in visitors to rural parts of the state that normally see a small number of tourists. These towns and groups are eager to make the most out of this opportunity by providing free events and activities to both local community members and visitors alike. For example, the town of Shoals is preparing to host a viewing event at its local baseball field.
It'll be a free event. We'll have 1,000 free glasses to give away. We'll have local vendors of baked goods, handicrafts. We have a lot of local businesses that will be participating with specials and their own items as far as being eclipse themed as well.
In Spencer, the Spencer Pride Group is planning a robust day filled with activities, including an eclipse photography workshop, a science-themed drag show, and local history lessons highlighting inclusivity in the area.
Whether it's women's suffragist movement, civil rights, or the work of our own Spencer Pride organization. There's been a lot of, this is a legacy of work that's happened in our small community over many years.
For Spencer Pride, the totality is an opportunity to educate people and challenge the ideas they may have on those who live in rural areas.
Maybe their perceptions of what a small town in a very rural conservative area is, maybe they'll have some of those misconceptions challenged, right?
And in another part of the state in Vincennes, the Knox County Association of Remarkable Citizens will host an event focused on allowing everyone, including those with special needs, to enjoy the eclipse.
A lot of them, don't have the opportunity to go out to different events, to do different things. Whether it be finances or whether it be just because of their disability. And so this is amazing because we're making this, adaptable to everybody of all abilities.
Their event will have all the usual trimmings like music and food, but also crafting areas, karaoke, and tools that provide sensory input for those who experience the eclipse in their own way, such as people who can't see.
When the light moves over the box, the tone on the speaker will change, so they can enjoy it just like we can. So just in a different way, but it's still a really neat event that we can share with them.
All of these events require time, planning, and perhaps most importantly, money, something that's not always available to smaller towns and organizations.
Spencer Pride didn't plan from a financial perspective well in advance to be hosting thousands and thousands of people at an event mid-year. So this is in the middle of our fiscal year here. It would have been a challenge for us to kind of readjust.
But thanks to the Center for Rural Engagement at IU, all these events have been made possible thanks to microgrants the groups applied for and won.
We were able to offer microgrants to 30 communities. So these microgrants were in the amount of $2,000 to support their arts and cultural community activities around the solar eclipse.
The $60,000 was made possible thanks to the Simons Foundation and its Path to Totality initiative. Deckard says the support not only allows for the events to take place, but provides a launching point for future tourist opportunities.
This is an opportunity to build that capacity as well as those relationships between communities and with Indiana University. And so we really see this as a spring point for communities to think about how they can attract visitors for other types of events.
And while it might not seem like a lot at first glance, for many the grant money is fundamental to ensuring events like this can take place.
For our event, the $2,000 micro grant has pretty much made us have no limits with what we want to do.
In fact, the micro grants represent some of the only available additional funding for these groups and towns. The State Office of Community and Rural Affairs offered information and planning tools, but no additional money. One of the pieces of technical support they're providing is information from the town of Sweetwater, Tennessee, where a total eclipse was celebrated in 2017. The office is hoping to learn from the town's experiences in dealing with a large influx of visitors.
You don't really know what to expect. You just kind of plan for a bunch of people to be there. And that was one of the things that we heard was just kind of traffic issues, hotel, camping space in their case.
As Bennett puts it, the importance that communities capitalize on the totality event cannot be overstated.
You can't create an event that's going to draw this many people. I mean, it just doesn't happen. It's very rare. And so everybody can participate. This gives them an opportunity to be able to bring some money back into the community and showcase themselves.
All said, it appears communities and groups are looking for ways to use the grant money to create viewing events that are fun, educational, and inclusive for all. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Clayton Baumgarth.
Now, experts are warning about the dangers of viewing the eclipse without proper eyewear, as looking directly at the sun during an eclipse could lead to permanent damage.
No amount of glasses or contacts or surgery can fix that. There is no cure or treatment, so the main thing would be prevention.
You'll need a solar eclipse filter or special solar eclipse glasses to view the big event. Solar eclipse safety glasses are available to purchase at state parks and a number of retail outlets. For more eclipse-related news and coverage, or to ask questions about the upcoming event, visit WTIU.org/eclipse. Well, we're joined now by Callie Lichter for more headlines from around the state. Hi, Callie.
Hi, Joe. Courtney Daly has been sworn in to fill the vacant District 5 seat on the Bloomington City Council. Daly was chosen by Democratic Party Chair David Henry after she and former District 5 primary candidate Jenny Stevens tied on 2 straight votes by a party caucus. Former Fire Chief Jason Moore was eliminated after 2 rounds of voting.
My priorities first are getting my sea legs and just kind of getting the lay of the land. And I know that we're working on some big issues, and I want to do my homework and be able to jump right in and be able to contribute.
Daly fills the seat vacated by Shruti Rana, who resigned shortly after being sworn in on January 1st to accept a position at the University of Missouri. Bloomington officials say they want to extend a program temporarily closing Kirkwood Avenue to drivers each year. Lucas Gonzalez reports it's the culmination of an annual pilot program.
The Kirkwood Outdoor Dining Program typically closes 2.5 blocks of Kirkwood Avenue to motor vehicles for a few months every year. It started in 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and has happened every year since, with annual approval from the City Council. Officials say they now want to extend the program, possibly indefinitely, so it doesn't require their approval each year.
My feeling is that after 3 or 4 years of pilots, we should probably make a decision about whether the program should be full scale or go away entirely. I'm of the opinion that it should be a permanent program.
Flaherty says the current process creates uncertainty for businesses on Kirkwood, preventing them from investing in their outdoor dining spaces. Officials say there's been some public misperception around the city's plans, which do not include permanently closing Kirkwood to drivers, at least for now.
I want to assure you, in my administration, we are not going to surprise you with a major initiative that permanently changes the face of Bloomington.
Councilmember Isak Asari says the idea of a permanent closure has come up in conversations he's been involved in, but added nothing formal is being discussed.
Nothing is going to happen without significant stakeholder engagement, but we're at the ideation stage, right? It's about can we come up with a bold vision that people can get behind?
Some residents say they're concerned closing Kirkwood prohibits access to people with mobility issues. Others say the closure reduces car dependency, makes the city more vibrant, and helps the local economy. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Lucas Gonzalez.
The city is currently working on the Clear Creek reconstruction project, which aims to improve storm drainage in the downtown area. It will affect access to part of Kirkwood Avenue this summer and is likely to impact the outdoor dining program. The southwest branch of the Monroe County Public Library remains closed after a frozen pipe flooded a third of the library almost 2 months ago. Officials say they are waiting on insurance claims to be processed before proceeding with repairs.
We're moving as fast as we can, but it's not a fast train. And we will have a soft commitment as to a date for reopening once we have restoration nailed down and the materials ordered.
Carson says the public cannot place holds at the location, but they are able to request and return books at the downtown or Ellettsville branches. The southwest branch opened just last year. Bloomington Mayor Carrie Thompson has given the final approval needed for an interlocal agreement for the Monroe Convention Center expansion. The city and county councils and the county commissioners all signed off on the agreement last month after years of trying to come up with a plan.
This agreement is not only the path towards a project together, though. It is a sign of the renewed partnerships that we've all been hoping for in our community, a city and county that can work together.
The interlocal agreement outlines how different government bodies will work together to advance the expansion. People with COVID may return to normal activities if their symptoms are improving and they are fever-free without medication for 24 hours, according to new CDC guidelines. So that means COVID is now being treated similarly to other respiratory illnesses, such as the flu or RSV. The decision has been met with skepticism.
It's still not the flu. We still have 2,000 Americans dying every week from the virus. We still have millions suffering from long COVID and other complications. So it's just not quite predictable as we'd like it to be.
McKean says this change may be good for those who can't afford to miss work or school, but he encourages people to test and stay home if they are symptomatic. And Joe, IU says it will defer to CDC guidelines as always, and students and faculty can still self-report.
All right, Callie, thank you so much. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana University says it's working to better implement its climate plan, but students and faculty say they've been left out of the process. And Columbus officials unveil a 150,000 square foot sports complex ready for use inside Nexus Park. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
WTIU and PBS, through the excellence of their programming and the fact that they tell stories of local heroes, I really appreciate WTIU's commitment to bringing those kinds of stories and projects to the public. Things that challenge us to do better, to be better, to see our neighbors, to hear quality stories, and to be involved with each other to make the world a better place. And that's why it's important. Where else can you get the kind of programming to come into your house? You don't even have to leave your house to receive this kind of culture, this kind of political conversation. It's really important for each of us to step up and participate in funding those things that are important to us. So I would encourage everybody to support WTIU.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. The Indiana General Assembly hopes to wrap up this year's session this weekend, and with it not being a budget year, lawmakers have tackled a number of issues involving education, the environment, and health care. There's a slew of other bills headed to the governor's desk to sign this week. Now, one bill, if Governor Eric Holcomb signs it, would limit his and any future governor's power to extend statewide disaster emergencies. The legislation is seen as a reaction to Republicans' continued frustration at Holcomb's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic when he renewed the emergency on a monthly basis. This bill would allow the governor to declare a statewide emergency for 60 days, but renewing it would require authorization by the General Assembly. Indiana is expanding its revenge pornography law to include digitally generated or altered images. The revenge porn law created in 2019 makes it a crime to share an intimate image or video if the person sharing it knows the person in the image didn't consent to it being shared. But due to a rise in the use of AI images, the law has been updated. It doesn't include news outlets or internet providers. Some teenagers will be able to work later into the evening during the summer and possibly during the start of the school year under a bill awaiting the governor's signature. The bill allows 14 and 15-year-olds to work until 9 p.m. on weeknights between June 1st and Labor Day, 2 hours later than current law. The bill also removes regulations that prevent minors from working more than 9 hours a day and more than 40 hours during a school week. Well, pet stores will be able to sell dogs anywhere in Indiana, even in communities where those sales are banned by local ordinances under a bill Governor Eric Holcomb signed into law this week. The controversial measure eliminates nearly 24 such ordinances, including in Bloomington, and it establishes new care standards and requires pet stores to register with the state in order to sell canines.
We felt like we went backward with that, but we will continue to work very hard to make sure that we don't allow businesses, what sometimes are called puppy mills, into the city or the county.
Now, proponents argue it would enhance quality and safety for dogs. Indiana University says it's reorganizing its sustainability offices to better implement the university's climate action plan. But some students and faculty at IU Bloomington say they've been cut out of the process to make the university a cleaner, greener place. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Rebecca Thiel reports how IU chooses to move forward could determine whether students, faculty, and staff have a role in helping the university reach its climate goals.
Sophomore Will Gardner grew up playing in a nearby creek in Fort Wayne. Now he's studying environmental science at IU Bloomington. He points out a sinking stream in Dunn Meadow on campus.
It's almost as if all the water goes right underneath, and then right where that bridge is where the other side of the stream is. But a little bit further up, it just shows right back up. It comes right out.
Gardner says getting more hands-on experience would help him find a job and narrow down what he wants to do. But there aren't enough good internships to go around. Since he's spending at least 2 summers working or taking classes, the pressure is on for the summer before his senior year.
I pretty much have one real opportunity to get a good solid internship in before I'm out of school, so you want to make it count.
Students used to get more of that hands-on experience right on campus. Professor Kelly Eskew was president of a now defunct advisory board, which used to tackle sustainability projects on campus. Eskew chaired a working group where a company trained students to do waste audits.
The goal was that we would repeat that work year over year using students to take a look at what our trash looks like here at Indiana University. And that has completely fallen away. It's really a terrible waste of a wonderful, no pun intended, but it's a missed opportunity.
Losing the board means faculty also lost a way to share their expertise as IU tackles possibly the most ambitious sustainability project ever, its climate action plan. Though the university held at least one public forum at each campus, the planning committee meetings weren't open to the public, and at least for now, implementation meetings aren't either.
I think it's kind of a tragic loss. There is so much expertise and so much energy and enthusiasm about engaging with these issues, and more many faculty and students feel walled off from this process, with many of the operations being handled in secrecy and kind of behind closed doors.
That includes the new Chief Sustainability Officer position, which oversees the climate plan for all of IU's campuses. Hamburger says faculty wanted an independent role hired through a national search, able to hold the campus accountable to its climate commitments and maybe more ambitious ones. Instead, it reports to Capital Planning and Facilities and was posted internally. IU refused to explain why. While some faculty worry about all of these changes, Jessica Davis, the new Chief Sustainability Officer, says she's excited to get to work. She admits her team has been more insular lately. That's because the university was busy reorganizing all of its sustainability offices under the climate plan.
And ultimately, it's our job to implement and manage the climate action plan, as well as try to standardize the sustainability experience across IU to the best of our ability. So because that triggered a significant reorganization for us, now the provost office is working on what a new model might look like.
While things may be in flux right now, Davis says the implementation committee is working on a list of projects that students and faculty can get involved with. And she says anyone on campus can always talk to their representative on the committee or request an audience with the committee. Like it or not, the way IU has organized its sustainability initiatives is not unusual, says Bridget Flynn. She works for Second Nature, a company that helps universities track their greenhouse gas emissions and find climate solutions. They say having the chief sustainability officer tied to facilities is very common, though today more of those roles are getting pushed up the hierarchy.
More of those positions are reporting directly to the president or to a VP or like a CFO or a creation of a cabinet level position.
Flynn says no matter how they choose to reach their climate goals, universities should try to involve students as much as possible. Even if IU decides to, say, hire a contractor to make their buildings more energy efficient, students could write requests for proposals or evaluate bids. Flynn says change will take time. There are a lot of stakeholders involved, and that involvement is important.
You know, in order to have people feel like they were really part of the process and see themselves in the plan and in the implementation, and that it really represents the desires of the campus.
For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
And a new indoor sports field in Columbus is officially open after years of construction at the former Fair Oaks Mall. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held Wednesday night for the Circle K Fieldhouse, which includes basketball courts and turf fields. The 150,000 square foot space is part of the Nexus Park renovation of the area, turning the old mall into a health, wellness, and recreation area. Officials hope the fields will help boost sports tourism in Columbus.
Our staff does an amazing job with the parks. This is only going to be able to give us extra amenities that we'll be able to give to the community that we've never been able to offer before.
Nexus Park is a joint effort by Columbus Regional Health and the City of Columbus. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.